There were several light bulbs at several different times, and the first one was when I saw 2001: A Space Odyssey for the first time. And the light bulb there was, a movie can be more than just telling a story. It can be a piece of art. It can be something that has a profound impact on your imagination, on your appreciation of how music works with the images and so on. It sort of just blew the doors off the whole thing for me, and at the age of 14, and I started thinking about film in a completely different way and got fascinated by it. The next light bulb was really just the one that says, just do it. Just pick up a camera and start shooting something. Don't wait to be asked, because nobody's going to ask you. And don't wait for the perfect conditions, because they'll never be perfect. It's a little bit like having a child. If you wait until the right time to have a child, you'll die childless. And I think filmmaking is very much the same thing. You just have to take the plunge and just start shooting something. Even if it's bad, you can always hide it, but you will have learned something, I was living in a Star Wars world in my mind, and all of a sudden I saw this film, and it was like somebody had reached into my hindbrain and yanked out a lot of stuff that was in there, and I was seeing it on the screen, realized. And not to take anything away from George's creation, because it's obviously a phenomenal milestone, but my reaction to it was not, oh, wow, that's cool, I want to see more. It was, oh, wow, I better get off my butt, because somebody's doing this stuff, and they're beating me to it. That was my reaction. So I basically quit my job and started, doing a little film with visual effects, and sucked my friends into that vortex, and we all quit our jobs, and fortunately we've all managed to successfully transition into filmmaking of that little group of 4 people. A lot of people ask me, what's the best advice to someone who wants to be a director? And the answer I give is very simple. Be a director. Pick up a camera, shoot something, no matter how small, no matter how cheesy, no matter whether your friends and your sister star in it. Put your name on it as director. Now you're a director. Everything after that, you're just negotiating your budget and your fee. So it's a state of mind, is really the point. Once you commit yourself to do it, I would say that my father was completely unsupportive in any way, shape, or form, and was really sort of just sharpening his knives, waiting for me to fail so that he could say, aha, I was right, you should have gone into engineering. And it was always this sort of attitude of, well, one of these days you'll get a real job, and this film thing, will pass as a fad. And so there was zero support there. And I actually think that it made me angry enough that I had to succeed. I think if I had a soft, rosy, supportive kind of, it's good if you do it, but if it doesn't work out sort of thing, it would have been different. But it kind of made me mad, and I had to prove that I was right, that this was the right thing to be doing. And I think it made me mad enough to get good. Growing up in the 60s, coming to my kind of intellectual awakening in high school, at a time when the world was in complete chaos between the war in Vietnam and civil rights and all of the upheavals, all the social upheavals, free love, everything that was happening in the late 60s. It gave one an interesting perspective, being a science fiction fan and looking at a world that was coming apart and thinking in very apocalyptic terms about that world. And I've never lost that sort of almost a fascination with apocalyptic themes, and Titanic is just another manifestation of that, because for me that film was just a microcosm for the way the world ends. However it ends, we don't know, but if it ends by the human hand, it'll end in the way that Titanic ended, which is through some casual, simple carelessness. So being a child of the 60s in that way, I think very much influenced the way I looked at what could be done with film. You never really get an opportunity. You take an opportunity. In the filmmaking business, no one ever gives you anything. Nobody ever taps you on the shoulder and say, I've really admired the way you talk and the way you draw. I think you'd make a good director. doesn't happen that way. You have to constantly be pulling on somebody's sleeve, saying, "Hey, I want to direct, I want to direct, I want to direct," and you have to be willing to make sacrifices to do that. The mistake a lot of people, I think, make in Hollywood is that they think, well, I'll get to the top of my field as a whatever, editor, production designer, writer, and then I'll just move laterally into directing, and I'll be more respected, and I'll have more power. It doesn't work that way, because you drop right to the bottom of the pack as a director.